Yeah. Still, it's going to take a while, though. Until I still, wake up. Even though I would like to sleep later, still going to wake up, I can tell. Yeah. Habituated.
Bad habit.
Yeah.
We'll call our meeting to order. First item is the invocation by Chaplain Jerry Ferguson, PB Police Department. Pledge of Allegiance will be given by Isabella Bayafus.
I would begin by sharing a verse from Psalm 107. Let them give thanks to the Lord for his unfailing love and his wonderful deeds for mankind. Let them exalt him in the assembly of the people and praise him in the council of the elders. We're here tonight, O Lord, to do just that, to thank you for your unfailing love and your wonderful deeds for us. As I wait just a moment, I encourage each of us to personally and silently thank the Lord for his goodness in your lives. Heavenly Father, as we continue in this meeting tonight, I thank you for those willing to serve our town in all the various positions, whether salaried or volunteer. I pray for wisdom in the discussions and decisions that will take place tonight. We acknowledge, O God, that none of us deserve the blessings you give to us. May we be good stewards of what we have. I pray that those with financial means will be considerate of those less fortunate, especially as we enter this holiday season. We pray for our military families whose loved ones will not be home for the holidays. I pray for their safety wherever they are serving. We pray for a spirit of unity and peace in our nation, drawing from the wisdom you give us rather than our own. I now commit the remainder of this meeting to your care and offer this prayer in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chaplain. Thank you, Isabella. Okay, move on to number 5 rather. Roll call first. Diane?
Mayor Skoog?
Present.
Vice Mayor Nye?
Here.
Councilmember Anderson?
Here.
Councilmember Grossman?
Still here.
Councilmember Mallory?
here.
Councilmember Rooney?
Here.
And Councilmember Whiting.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, next item is scheduled announcements. We'll start with the Healing Field SA winners. Darlene? And Sandra, welcome.
Good evening. How many of you here have visited the Healing Field? Wow. For those of you who didn't raise your hands, you have another opportunity next year. We have students, we had over 200 essays this year from students entering our essay contest. Last year, we had 7. So we are thrilled. We've had a lot more participation from the schools, and we thank all the teachers and educators that are here tonight, as well as the students. Our first place winner of our essay contest is Caleb Will from Bradshaw Mountain High School. Caleb? And the students are receiving, the first, second, and third place are also receiving gift certificates, as well as a flag. No, please stay here. Our second place winner is Guadalupe Gonzalez. And Mrs. Andrews, her teacher, is accepting her award for her tonight. Thank you. The third place is Linda Henriksen, Bradshaw Mountain High School. Again, she couldn't be here tonight, so her teacher is accepting We have 4 honorable mention students, just as important. Chase Torp, Bradshaw Mountain High School. Honorable mention students also receive a flag. Zach Gooch, Bradshaw Mountain High School. Ms. Marks will be accepting his award. Jose Manzo, Liberty Traditional. And last but not least, Angelina Jonas, Bradshaw Middle School. And as I said, these students won these honors out of 200 essays. So their parents, and their educators should be really proud. Let's give them another hand. Okay, I also wanted to just acknowledge the educators that really had their students involved. And tonight we have Mrs. Andrews from Liberty Traditional School and Mr. Mayer. Mr. Mayer, could you please stand up? Mrs. Andrews is right here. They were a great support to our field. They brought their honor students. They brought students to the field to visit, and we really want to acknowledge that and say how much we appreciated it. Also, Diane Hamilton, who had her students enter the essay contest. Diane, where? Oh, there you are. Can you please stand up? Just stay standing for just a minute. And Mr. Vick. Is Mr. Vick here? I don't think he's here tonight, but we do want to acknowledge him also. And Mrs. Marks, Jessica Marks, is over here. She's been a great supporter. Mr. Streeter is here tonight, the superintendent of Humboldt Unified, and he was a great support in getting the educators more involved. Also, Mr. Carter is here. He's the Yavapai County superintendent, and he's a very big support of this field. So we want to thank all of you.
May I have the honor guard from TAFPA, the Central Arizona Honor Guard, and the Prescott Valley Police Honor Guard? Whoever is representing you, would you come up, please? Our honor guards are such an intricate part of what we do that week of Patriot Week, and they're always there. And so Mary Mallory and I were thinking about what we could do for them to show them how much we care and how special they are. So would you come forward, Jeremiah? We have a check for you for $500. Oh. And we also have one for Prescott Valley.
You want us down?
No, photobomb them. Go ahead. Remember, he carries a gun.
That rolls.
Okay, who did that? Earthquake.
Sit next to you guys.
While we're taking some pictures, I do want to also acknowledge we have the principal and the vice principal from Liberty here tonight, and I do want to acknowledge your participation. So thank you very much.
Are we doing a picture? We're going to do one more thing. Okay. Mayor, we are just so honored to have had you all these years. And Mary and I wanted to do something special for you for your many years of dedicated service to our community and your full support of the Prescott Valley Healing Field of Northern Arizona.
Thank you, Darlene, and thank you all. Appreciate that.
Sure. She wants the students. So,
Students?
yeah, we just...
Sandy, lower the microphone.
Everybody say sausage.
Oh.
Somebody bend the microphone. There you
Oh,
go.
bend the microphone.
You know to do it.
Scooch.
Yeah,
Scooch, Harvey. Scooch.
Get in there.
Mayor.
Scoot in.
Okay.
And thank you, Darlene. This is kind of awkward because I'm not used to being in pictures. Okay, next one is the Student of the Month. Where's Mr. Mayor or Councilman Whiting?
Well, as I always say, this is my favorite week of the month. Well, we're a little early because of the holidays, but usually the fourth Thursday of every month we recognize an outstanding student in our community. And tonight we're honored to have another student here that we're going to honor, Isabella Bielfus, and I hope I pronounced her last name correctly. But if you're not aware, the Optimist Club of Yavapai County, in conjunction with Bradshaw Mountain High School and the town of Prescott Valley, take time out every month to honor one of our students from Bradshaw Mountain High School. And we believe that Isabella, as all the students we've recognized in the past, exemplify the values that optimism portrays, as well as the town of Prescott Valley is honored to recognize youth like Isabella that engage in school and community involvement. And I'll tell you a little about her background, and then I think Court Minor, the principal, will give you a little information about her academic standing at Bradshaw Mountain High School. But this is something I think that I would be hard-pressed to do, and we count on the faculty and staff of Bradshaw Mountain High School to look at the students and determine who they feel should be honored every month. So we appreciate their assistance and help in doing that. Isabella is what I would call a well-rounded student. It's always hard to look through, I think, a biography or background of a student that's so young still and realize that they've been doing a lot and very active in the community as well as school, much more, again, than what I ever dreamed of when I was her age. But she's involved in a variety of academic and extracurricular activities that we know she enjoys quite a bit. She's participated in honors and advanced placement studies since her freshman year. She has focused her efforts primarily in biology, chemistry, and English, and she is dually enrolled student at Yavapai College as well as Bradshaw Mountain High School, and is taking English, college algebra, and CNA, I think, is a nursing type of endeavor. She also enjoys participating in sports, including volleyball, basketball, and cheerleading, and she's involved with the National Honor Society, Mu Alpha Theta, which I think is a mathematics honor society, in concert choir and advanced women's ensemble. So she's very, I think, involved with a lot of different things at school, and she does help out at the community as well. She works with the March of Dimes, Yavapai Humane Society, and I know we all know what the society does, and she coaches at basketball camp. She plans, which I'm disappointed because I'm a graduate of the University of Arizona, to attend Northern Arizona University. But my younger son graduated from there, so I can't be too hard on her for that. So we look forward to her studies there, and she's wanting to, I think, major in nursing. So that gives you a little background, well-rounded, I think you'd agree. And we'll ask Court Minor to give us a little information about her academic background.
Thank you, Mr. Whiting. Mayor Skoog, council members, distinguished guests. As Michael said, my name is Court Minor, proud principal of Bradshaw Mountain High School. I'm very, very honored this evening to introduce our Student of the Month. I think Mike did a great job of talking about all of her involvement in the community and at Bradshaw Mountain High School, and I want to thank her because she is one of the brightest lights on our campus. Every room she walks into, the court, the field she walks out onto, she makes everyone around her better. She has such a positive, you can see her smile, she has such a positive attitude. So I want to thank her for being involved in so much stuff on our campus because she's made all those programs and all those clubs better because of her participation. She has with all her involvement, the honors courses, playing 3 sports, choir, Mu Alpha Theta, NHS, working in the community, she still managed to pull off a 3.775 GPA. She is in the top 17% of her class. And I think Mike really hit it on the head. She exemplifies a very well-rounded student. So I'd like to introduce Isabella Bialfus.
First, I'd like to thank the town of Prescott Valley for honoring me today. I'd like to thank my family for always supporting me. I'd like to thank my dad's basketball players for helping me with my math homework when I need it. I'd like to thank my teachers for nominating me. This means a lot, and I'd like to thank all my coaches for making me a better player and a better person and a better leader. And also doing all that community work, it's very humbling, and thank you.
Don't go too far. We'd like to give you a few mementos to honor you tonight for your achievements. And I must say I can understand why you like basketball, because you are a very tall person. But to give you a little memento in terms of your honor here tonight, we have a certificate. And it just indicates that Isabella has been nominated or named November Student of the Month with or in conjunction with the Optimist Club of Yavapai County, Bradshaw Mountain High School, and the town of Prescott Valley. So put that into a prominent place. You can put it in a frame if you'd like. And we do have a paperweight, and this is something that just indicates again, Student of the Month, Optimist International. If you put that on all the papers you're working on at NAU, and then we expect you to come back with your paperweight and your certificate, and we hope to see you here as a productive member of our Prescott Valley community. So congratulations, and this is an opportunity then to introduce your sibling and your parents, and they can say anything they'd like. So come on up. So introduce them. 20 minutes.
My dad's out of town for his basketball game, so he couldn't make it. That's my mom, Jacqueline Bialfus, and that's my little brother, Kelly Bialfus. They don't want to say anything.
Well, we do appreciate, I think, not only the achievement of Isabella, but also the support of her parents and siblings. She wouldn't be here without them, I'm sure. And with the school, of course, and the leadership of Court Minor. So thank you all for being here tonight, and congratulations.
Congratulations, Isabel, and keep up the good work. Okay, Chamber of Commerce. Is Gloria here?
We have several events coming up that we wanted to share with you and make sure you know what's going on in our community. And the first one is Valley of Lights opens next Thursday. I have the new brochures. I will leave some on the table over there if anybody wants to grab one. Thursday from 6 to 10 every night, except when we do the holiday stroll of lights through Valley of Lights. And this is a 1-mile walk. You can't drive a car, you can't bring a bicycle or anything else, but it's a walk, a leisurely walk through the lights. If you want to take pictures up close, you can do that. I want to make sure everybody knows this is 6 to 9. We will have hot chocolate along the way. We'll have extra bathrooms for all the ladies and the kids that need them along the way. And we'll have hot cider. And Santa will be at the end taking pictures with the kids and giving out candy canes. So we want to make sure that you guys all know about this and are invited. And please come out that night. We've got probably about 400 that we've already heard from that want to come. So we're excited about it. And then what happens on December 1st? Holiday Festival of Lights and Parade. So now we have the parade coming up. And I do have some applications. I'll put them over there on that table if anybody doesn't have an application for the parade yet. But we have music from some of our school choirs. Our own mayor will be giving us a little welcome. Of course, Marnie will be doing her Night Before Christmas story with all the kids and giving out candy canes that night. We'll light up the Civic Center. It's always glorious. It's so pretty. And then the parade starts about 6:10. So be sure and join us. It's going to be a great night. We look forward to everybody being here. Of course, then you can do photos with Santa on the 3rd floor if you'd like to of the Civic Center. And you can go see the creative tree at the library. So be sure and visit everything that's going on and keep it in mind. And I'll put all this on the back table if anybody wants one. You're welcome to have them. And we'll start out the holidays right. Thank you so much for letting me be here tonight.
Thank you, Gloria. I appreciate that.
Anybody have any questions?
Questions, anyone?
Okay.
Oh, Jody?
Yes. You do such a good job describing that. And, I know we have a lot of new people that are moving to the community.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about the Valley of Lights, now we have the big old soldier out there. Can you just kind of give them a direction of where to go for that?
Okay. Once you see the soldier on Highway 69, depending on which way you're coming, you'll go toward the soldier down to 2nd Street. You'll make a left on 2nd Street. You'll go down to 5th Street and make a right. Once you make that right, there's another soldier right there waving his hand at you. Say, come this way, come this way. And you go down the hill to Fane Park, and you go around the circle, and you start through the first tunnel of Valley of Lights. And it is beautiful. We have a new display this year, so see if you can pick it out what it is. Anybody else?
Any other comments or questions?
All right. Thank
Gloria,
you so
thank
much.
you.
Have a great weekend.
Okay, next we have communications, comments. Marty, you have a comment?
Yes, I do. There's going to be a film on November 19th at 3 o'clock right here, but if it's okay with the mayor, can we bring Doug Keller up? He's a past district vice president and a past commander of the American Legion post here in Prescott Valley. Am I correct? And this is basically Doug's baby, so why not let him talk about it?
It's good to see you, Doug.
Good to see you. My name is Doug Keller. I am past state vice commander of the American Legion. Next year will be the 100th anniversary of the war to end all wars. Everyone familiar with that? That was World War I. Arizona had quite a few heroes from that era. And you could also argue that the American Legion, the World War I started in Arizona. Arizona was only 4 years old when we were chasing Pancho Villa down by the southern border. And General Blackjack Pershing used that opportunity to train the Army. So by the time we were involved in World War I, our guys were very well trained. One of our Legion family members down in Tucson, who's been a filmmaker for 36 years and done work with Frank Capra on CBS Discovery Channel, started researching what Arizona's contribution was during World War I and found out quite a few things. If you've noticed, there are names here that people may not be familiar with, like Ernest A. Love. The airfield in Prescott is named after that. He was a pilot and a Congressional Medal of Honor winner. And there's lots more. Arizona's population was 260,000 at the time, and 40,000 of Arizonans joined the war effort. And a lot of heroes. We talked about, this film will show you about the women's contributions of Native Americans, and also Mexican Americans that fought in World War I. It's very interesting. It's fast-paced. It's 1 hour long, and we're going to show it here in the council chambers at 3 o'clock on Sunday. So we'd like to invite you and all of the council members, if they'd like to attend. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's a great film. Do we have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Do you have a question, Mary?
I missed the date. What's
This Sunday.
This
Sunday.
Sunday.
At 3 o'clock.
Okay.
I have a flyer if you want one.
Yeah. Thank
I'll
you.
give
Okay.
That's all right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Doug. Any other questions, comments, communications?
I actually have another. I just want to let everybody know that I just returned from a Arizona town hall down in Mesa, and the topic this year was funding education in Arizona. And there was a lot of good information. There's a lot more coming back. But if you could circle January 25th on your calendar right now, I'm trying to get a busload of people to go down to Phoenix, and we're going to be presenting that report to our legislators on that day. And it'd be really nice to have a large contingent of residents from all over the state attending. So I'm going to be getting more information on that and trying to get a bus to go down there. If I get more than one bus, that's even better. So just circle that date, January 25th. It's a Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you. Jody?
Thank you, Mayor. Last week I was able to give a teaser in regards to the 40th celebration that we're going to be having here. In 2018, Prescott Valley is going to be 40 years old, and we are going to have a big party, Mayor. Starting New Year's Eve, we're going to have fireworks, we're going to have cocoa with our cops, we're going to have ice skating, there's going to be a big bonfire. We have the Prescott Valley, when we jump in the pool. Anybody participate that with the bears? In the Polar Splash? Anybody participate from here? Yeah, well, you know, we're looking for 40 bears for 40 years. So I'm going to be looking for some people to step up and jump in that cool. You, Larry, I think you.
Maybe Ivan.
Ivan, you think? Well, also, we're incorporating some special events in with some existing events, but we're bringing that 40 years flair together. Now, certainly one thing that I'm going to be looking for is people that have been here for a long time. And Heidi said, I know there's people that have been in Prescott Valley for over 30 years, maybe 35 years, and we're going to want to hear your stories. We want to have you help us with it because we're going to be doing an incorporation. And I'm not going to give the whole thing away, but on December 7th, I'm going to have a big list for everybody. So if you have information that you can get to Heidi on stories and some of the history of Prescott Valley, you can contact Heidi Foster at 928-759-3123, or you can email HFOSTER, hfoster at pvaz.net. We're going to want some people to participate, public outreach with this. We have several things that are coming together, and I bet you have a really good idea. So be looking for more information. There's something already on Facebook. Thank you, Mayor.
Good. Larry, you got a comment?
I do. Two things. Number one, a belated happy birthday to you, Mayor Skoog. On Sunday, you were recognized by over 400 people at a dinner over at the Event Center. And that's the second item that I would like to communicate. 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. If you are interested in an incredibly high-level, high-caliber soccer game, come out and support Yavapai College. It is a semifinal game. We have had, meaning the town of Prescott Valley, has had the honor to host the national championship for junior colleges. We've had the 12 best teams in America here in Prescott Valley, and I wanted to share with you that their comments and their critique on our community have been overwhelmingly positive. You have to remember, these are players that have come from New York, North Carolina, Michigan, Missouri, Illinois, absolutely in love with our weather, number one, but also very complimentary of the best soccer field they have ever played on. And that comment has been made several times by individual players that they have never played on a field as well groomed as the Prescott Valley Amphitheater. And so to that end, we need to recognize and really appreciate the hard work that the Parks Maintenance crew has done to make that the best soccer field around. But tomorrow, 3 o'clock, and if they prevail at 3 o'clock tomorrow, they play Tyler, Texas, which is the reigning national champion. If they were to prevail in that game, then the championship game is 3 o'clock on Saturday.
Good, thank you, Larry. And by the way, I didn't announce my birthday. I don't know why you did. Any other comments, Mary? No. Rick? No.
Yeah, actually, I do. Just a couple of quick things. One, I've been a veteran for 50 years. I've lived a lot of places in those 50 years, but I've never lived in an area like this town that celebrates its veterans like we do here. And that's something to be very proud of. And Doug made me think of that as he was standing up here talking to us. And the healing fields and the things that we do for our veterans here is fantastic. The second thing that I'm thinking of is how proud I am of the students of the Humboldt Unified School District and the instructors and the staff. Every month we witness outstanding students coming before us. And it's amazing to me how dedicated the students, the staff, the teachers, and the administrators are in our school district, and we need to do everything we can to support those people. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick. Any other comments, anyone? If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda, and Rick Anderson will read that.
Be glad to, Mayor. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine by the Town Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. A, approving the October 26 Council and Executive Session minutes and November 2nd, 2017 Council meeting minutes. B, accounts payable. C, financial report. D, council investment report. E, quarterly tax report. F, approving selection committee minutes for October 18 and 20, 2017. G, approving reversionary plat 17-010, abandoning the condo plat and termination of declaration, a 4-unit 4565 Preston condominium recorded January 28, 2009. H, approving reversionary plat 17-011. And that finishes it, Mayor.
That's it. Thank you, Rick. Okay, you want to pull any item, or do you want to approve it as a whole? Anyone care to pull an item? Or make a motion to approve as whole?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda by electronic vote.
Second, anyone?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Would you set the vote, Diane?
That's unanimous, Mayor.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, we move on then to number 8, old business for action. Second reading of ordinance number 837, increasing development administrative fees. With that, I'll ask you, Diane, to read ordinance number 837 by title only for the second reading.
Ordinance number 837, an ordinance of the mayor and the common council of the town of Prescott Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, adopting by reference a document entitled Amendments to Section 7-01-200 Valuation and Fee Schedule and Section 13-27-060 Fees and Charges, declared by resolution number 2024 to be a public record, which amends provisions of the town code to increase various fees for plan review, inspections, and planning and zoning services to offset associated administrative costs, providing that all other articles, sections, and subsections of the town code not herein amended shall remain in full force and effect, providing that if any provision in this ordinance is held invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, the remaining provision shall not be affected, but shall remain in full force and in effect, and providing that this ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law.
Thank you, Diane. And with that, I would ask, shall the ordinance pass? Would you set the vote, Diane? Nothing's happening, Diane.
Should be now, Mayor.
Good, thank you.
That's unanimous.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, we move on then to number 9, new business for review, comment, and or possible action. A, consideration of appointing Diane Lamont to Library Board of Trustees. Rick, you have any comments? Or Laura? I'm sorry.
One position on the Library Board of Trustees became open when Janet Thurman resigned effective September 5th, 2017. Mrs. Thurman was first appointed to the Library Board of Trustees on June 28, 2016, to fill an existing term with a renewal date of June 30th, 2017. The vacancy was advertised and 2 applications were received. Myself and council members Rick Anderson and Marty Grossman conducted the interviews and are recommending the appointment of Diane Lamont to fill the vacancy made by Janet Thurman's departure with a term renewal of June 30th, 2020. And is Diane here? There you are.
There she is.
Come on up.
Come on up and introduce yourself. Rick or Marty, either one of you have any comments?
Well, I certainly want to thank you for your willingness to serve the town. It's admirable. It truly is. If it weren't for the willingness of our citizens to stand up and show up, we couldn't possibly function. So thank you very much for your willingness.
Marty, any comments?
Sure. I guess I will just echo what Rick has just said. Having people step up and volunteer to be on our boards and commissions is admirable, and we would not be able to do a lot of the work that we do without them stepping forward. So thank you for stepping up and meeting the task, and I know it's going to be fun. It's a fun ride. Thank you.
Diane, any comments?
I'd just like to say thank you, and I look forward to serving on the board.
Thank you. Larry, you got any comments? That'd be the first time.
Yeah. Diane is also president of the Friends of the Library.
Oh.
And so actually she has a dual role now. And her and her husband, Donna, have been coming to the trustees meeting as their role as Friends of the Library, and you just can't pass up something so great. Somebody's sitting there and you're saying to yourself, she should be on the board of trustees. So here she is, and we just look forward to her input and to her talents.
Larry, you better introduce the other speaker, too. She's going to have 20 minutes.
Oh, Charlotte, yes.
Charlotte, by all means.
Charlotte is our vice president, and she is.
Yes, and we're very excited to have Diane come on the board because she has so much incredible experience. And she's very interested, and like Larry said, she'll be very dedicated, and we're just so glad to have her.
Good, thank you. Okay, with the council, is there any
How about I make a motion?
motion? I think we're ready.
Motion to appoint Diane Lamont to the Library Board of Trustees to a term with a renewal date of June 30th, 2020 by electronic vote.
I'll second that.
We have the motion and a second. Would you set the vote, Diane? No, this is where we find out if it really works.
System.
That's unanimous, Mayor.
Thank you, and congratulations. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Okay, now we got another one. Consideration of appointing Mary Jo Dame, do I pronounce that right, to the Library Board of Trustees. Laura, you have any comments?
I do. One position on the Library Board of, I should say, another position on the Library Board of Trustees became open when Joan and Mark resigned effective June 30th, 2017. She was first appointed to the Library Board of Trustees on August 22nd, 2013, to fill a term with a renewal date of June 30th, 2017, and then was reappointed to a second term with a renewal date of June 30th, 2019. The vacancy was advertised and 2 applicants were received. Myself and council members Rick Anderson and Marty Grossman conducted the interviews and are recommending the appointment of Mary Jo to fill the vacancy made by Joan Edmack's departure with a term renewal date of June 30th, 2019.
Rick, any comment?
Marty does.
Marty does? Okay.
Yeah, again, serving a second term, that's also, it's nice that you enjoyed it the first time, and now that you're serving a second, am I correct? Or is this your first time? Okay, first. I'm sorry. Anyway, again, somebody stepping up to serve on the board and the commissions, it's just, I just find it fascinating and inspiring that people are doing that. And so we welcome you. It was fun interviewing you, and I'm sure that you're going to prove yourself well. So thank you for stepping up.
Thank you. Mary Jo, any comments on your behalf in self-defense?
Very proud to serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Larry, any comments?
Yeah, looking at her application, I thought, wow, we got a person here that really is involved in libraries.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. We've got people that are now, but to add to it is really a plus for us.
Charlotte?
Yes. Welcome, Mary Jo. It's going to be great to have you on the board. And I'm sure we're going to do very well this year, and we won't have to worry about a quorum. Okay. Thank you.
We still have one opening, so let's not just say, oh, we're there. We're not there yet. One more opening. We can get that. We'll really be on a roll.
Well, Library Board.
We're advertising. It was in
yes, I know.
In the Tribune yesterday.
Library Board has always been a good one. So, any other comments, motions, demotions?
Mayor, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Motion to appoint Mary Jo Dean to the Library Board of Trustees to a term with a renewal date of June 30th, 2019 by electronic vote.
I'll second.
Okay, with a motion and a second, would you set the vote, Diane?
It's unanimous, Mayor.
Unanimous. Did you hear that? Congratulations.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
And please don't tell Stuart that I wore my hat to this whole thing. He'll have a fit.
We won't even admit it.
He's watching.
Okay. Next one is a consideration of reappointing Don Packard to the Municipal Property Corporation Board. Vice Mayor?
Yes. On November 18th, 2017, Don Packard's term on the Municipal Property Corporation Board will come due for renewal. He submitted the renewal application letter choosing to be reappointed. Don Packard was first appointed to a partial term, and this board on October 27, 2011, and this reappointment will be his third consecutive term. Myself and Councilmember Rick Anderson, and in this time, Mary Mallory, are recommending the appointment of Don Packard for a term with a renewal date of November 18, 2020. Are you still here? There.
I think he.
Yeah, I think he left with his wife. Smart man. Smart man.
He was probably nervous about the vote. Rick, any comments?
Well, only that. My only comment is that anytime you look anywhere in this town, you can see one of the Packards doing something.
Yeah.
And Don's no exception. So we're always glad to have them involved, and certainly glad to have Don on the board. So.
So at this point, I'd like to make a motion.
I think we're ready.
Motion to reappoint Don Packard to the Municipal Property Corporation Board to a term with a renewal date of November 18th, 2020 by electronic vote.
I'll second.
And we have the second. Would you set the vote, Dan?
It's unanimous, too, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, number D, consideration of reappointing Jim Cox to Municipal Property Corporation Board. Vice Mayor?
Yes. Again, on November 18th, 2017, Jim Cox's term on the Municipal Property Corporation Board will come due for renewal. He did submit the renewal application letter, choosing to be reappointed. Jim Cox was first appointed to a partial term on this board on July 9th, 2015, and this reappointment will be his second consecutive term. The vacancy was advertised and one application was received. Myself and council members Rick Anderson and Mary Mallory are recommending the reappointment of Jim Cox for a term with a renewal date of November 18th, 2020. And Jim, are you out there? I didn't see you.
I don't see him.
No, well then we'll just go ahead and vote.
Okay.
Anyone want to make a motion?
Mary?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to reappoint Jim Cox to the Municipal Property Corporation Board.
Second, anyone?
Mayor, I'll second that.
Okay, with a motion and a second, would you set the vote, Diane?
That's unanimous, Mayor.
Thank you. He will be notified too. Thank you. Okay. Number E, consideration of appointing Mary Graceffa. I hope I pronounced that right. Do I? Close, huh?
Oh, he's clapping.
To the Personnel Board. Laura?
Good job, Mayor. Come on up. One position on the Personnel Board became open when Jenny LeCain, I always get that wrong, thank you, stepped down from the non-exempt alternate member to be appointed to the full non-exempt member on August 10th, 2017. Jenny was first appointed to the Personnel Board non-exempt alternate member on March 20, 2015, to an existing term with a renewal date of April 25, 2016, and was then reappointed to a second term with a renewal date of April 25, 2018. The non-exempt alternative member position was advertised, and 2 applications were submitted. Myself and council members Anderson and Grossman conducted the interview and recommended the appointment of Mary to fill the vacant Personnel Board non-exempt alternative member position made open by Jenny with a renewal date of April 25th, 2018. Why don't you tell us why you're willing to serve?
I'm willing to serve because I want to be able to volunteer my time within the community as well as with the town. And because I am a part of our police department, I thought it was just a wonderful fit. And I have really good people behind me that stand behind me at the police department. And I deal with policies on a daily basis. So I thought that even though there is going to be a learning curve, that I would be able to adjust rather quickly. So I'm really looking forward to learning and being an active member to participate.
And now you can see why we are nominating her.
Any other comments, motions?
Mayor, I do have one more comment. You know, there was a large break between the two interviews that we did conduct, and it was very hard for us because we had decided after your interview that you were certainly a very qualified candidate for the position, and we had to wait yet over a month before we could conduct the other interview. So we weren't sure what was going to happen because it was, you know, it was going to take somebody extraordinary to knock you out of first place in our minds. So
Thank you.
you held on to it. You,
wonderful.
You made enough of an impression that a month later we were still able to remember how well the interview went. So I was glad for that, and you need to know that. So
I appreciate that, and I appreciate your time interviewing me and allowing me to do that. So thank you so much.
And I'd like you to know that that second applicant was also exceptional. This was a tough one for the three of us. So we're just delighted you're here.
Well, thank you for choosing me. I appreciate it.
Now the big challenge comes. Let's see how the vote goes. Anyone care to make a motion?
sure, I'll be glad to make a motion, Mayor. Motion to appoint Mary Grasatha to the Personnel Board to a term with the renewal date of April 25th, 2018 by electronic vote.
I'll second.
Okay, with a motion and a second, will you set the vote, Diane?
They're unanimous, Mayor.
That was unanimous.
And that's
Congratulations.
official.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Okay, on F, I think Mary is going to read that one for us.
Consideration of approving a construction contract with Caruso Construction, Inc. in the amount of $2,407,500 for construction of the police building expansion, 2017-CIP number F20B, and the amendment for the construction phase services for Stroh Architecture, Inc. in the amount of $27,674, and the professional services agreement for the inspection and materials testing services from Engineering and Testing Consultants, Inc. in the amount of $23,540.
Okay, any questions, comments? Bill, you got any comments, questions, suggestions?
Why our slides aren't there.
We have a picture of it, so
Okay.
in that packet.
Yes, we have put the bid out, and Caruso Construction was our low bidder. It is a bid that comes in that allows us to do not only the expansion, but also all of the alternates, which were the remodel portions of the other of the areas that we're moving out of in the main building. We also will have enough money for all of the equipment and furnishings that are going to be required for them to move in to that space. One of the things that has come up very late in this was that this afternoon the architect has informed us that he wanted to withdraw his recommendation for the contractor. Now, fortunately for us, the contractor is here with us. This is Chris Caruso, and we can have him speak to the concerns. The concerns of the architect was that he was missing some of the paperwork to support his letter of recommendation. However, that those items are readily available and will be taken care of and sent to the architect. But let me introduce Chris Caruso and let him speak to those concerns.
Thank you.
Welcome, Chris.
Thank you.
Yeah, we just learned about this as I walked up, actually, and the architect did recommend us for the project. We hadn't heard from him since then, and then we learned about the letter, and it boils down to one document, and that is the financial statements that we have. We had them reviewed statements produced by our CPA, and they're available now. So we didn't realize that they were due for the council meeting, and he hadn't contacted us about that. There were a couple of other documents that we did submit, and he had some questions about them. One was our list of subcontractors, and the other one was the A305 qualifications form, and he just had some questions, and we didn't get those questions. So we're happy to take care of that right away.
Good. Any questions, comments? Laura?
And our legal department is fine. We always want to include you. I saw him shaking his head, and I wondered if that meant he's fine. Thank you.
In addition to the authorization for the construction contract, we also have an amendment for the architect, so for his construction phase services, where he will be out reviewing how the building's going and do the progress meetings on a regular basis during that. And we also have ETC contract that we'd like to have approved, and that will be for materials testing, for specialty inspections, such as in welding and that type of thing, so that we have people there that are watching things and making sure that everything we are getting is exactly what is expected for us. So that's the motion that we have in front of you.
Good. Any other comments, anyone? Mike?
Yeah, I was just curious in terms of, and looking back at my construction days, because the town is involved with this, the owner's representative primarily is the town. Is that something you're going to fulfill in terms of your participation?
Well, I certainly will be over there on a regular basis to see what's going on. I would fully expect to be involved in any of the progress meetings and any decisions that we would have to make for the progress of the building as well.
Okay. And just remind me, do we have a construction manager on that will be part of this project?
No, that's basically part of the function that the architects will fulfill with their construction phase services.
So they'll fulfill that part of the
They'll come out.
team.
They'll have to do inspections and certifications that what has been installed meets code and meets the drawings in this.
And we don't anticipate any issues relative to trades and getting them on the project. So.
How are you doing? No, sir. And we're also construction managers and owners advocates. So we're really looking forward to this, working with the staff and bringing the project together.
Okay, thank you.
Mary?
I just wanted to reconfirm. So it's just a letter, a miscommunication. Is that okay? So going forward, I'm taking that the communication going forward will be much better in between everyone.
Absolutely, and we just haven't heard from the architect. This is the first we heard about this was this afternoon as I was walking up. So
okay,
yeah, we the last we heard was he made the recommendation for us.
Okay, I see.
So we thought everything was in order, and as the paperwork was coming in, we were going to get it over. So, yeah.
Okay.
I got a question.
Larry, comment?
Yeah, just a comment. Number one, I'd really like to bring your attention to and compliment the teamwork with the police department, with Bill, our capital improvements manager, and the architect, all doing a very good job to come up with a design where the project had the opportunity to come in on budget or under budget. We appreciate the contractor's hard work making this work and coming up with a great price, and we'll move forward. And to further answer your question, Councilman Whiting, you've got our building department that goes out and routinely inspects based on the various elements, whether it's the plumbing, the electrical, whatever. In addition to that, you've got oversight by the architect, and then Bill's going to be there. So I feel very confident that we're going to have a great project. Coming in under budget is always a good thing, and we appreciate you sharpening your pencil and moving forward. The question for you is, when are you going to start?
Yes.
Part of the process.
Yeah.
The process.
The process will be that once we get the approval, then we will move forward and gather make sure that we have all of the required documents for a conformed contract set. After all of that has been put together, then we will issue a notice to proceed to the contractor. Hopefully we can do that in a week to 10 days. It just depends on how quickly we can get all of that communication together.
Good. Marty?
Well, that was the question I was going to ask. Do you have what's your target date to start?
I would love to see us start in a week.
Okay.
I would like by the end of next week to be able to have a notice to proceed out. There'll be time for the contractor. They'll have to mobilize and get out here, but it would be, I think, in the next week would be great. That would give us probably occupancy of a completely finished building. I would project to be November of next year. We have to kind of phase it. We build the new building, and then we have to move the police department into that phase, and then let the contractor back in to do the remodel work.
Yeah. Because once this hits the newspaper, we're going to get inundated with questions. So I just want to have an answer. So thank you.
All right.
Laura?
I want to compliment you for your full public disclosure of that glitch. No one likes surprises, and we really don't. So I appreciate how open and upfront you were with that information.
Rick?
I just find it kind of interesting that we have so many questions, and it reminds me of the fact that it's been so long since we've done a capital project that we have all of these questions. So I'm just looking forward to the project starting. So thank you.
Jody?
No, I don't have any
No questions?
Yes, but I'd be willing to make a motion if there's
If
no
you're
other.
ready, well, we can take it.
All righty. I'll make a motion, Mayor, to approve construction contract with Caruso Construction Incorporated in the amount of $2,407,500 for construction of the Police Building Expansion 2017 CIP number F20B and the amendment for construction phase services for Stroh Architecture Incorporated in the amount of $27,674 and the professional services agreement for inspection and materials testing services from Engineering and Testing Consultants Incorporated in the amount of $23,540.
Good.
I'd love to make a second.
We have the motion and a second. Would you set the vote?
I feel like we need pom-poms or something.
It's unanimous, Mayor.
Thank you, and
Right,
congratulations. And
very
Bill,
much.
thank you. Okay, we move on then to number G, consideration of approving the amendment to the town engineer agreement with Devon Associates to provide professional design and construction administration services in the amount of $11,130 for Bighorn PRV station project, CIP number W405. Neil, are you going to take that one? Oh, I'm sorry, the Randy. Good to see
Mayor,
you.
Vice Mayor, council members, thank you for letting me present our upcoming CIP projects to you guys. The first one is the Bighorn PRV station. To give you a little bit of background on what a PRV station is, I know that many of you are already savvy enough to know what a PRV station is, but just for the viewing public, a PRV is a pressure reducing valve. So we have these valves throughout our system, and you're usually going to find them at our zone boundaries. Wherever we have connectivity between zones, you're either going to find a isolation valve, which doesn't let water through. We call those red valves. Or if we want water to go through, we have a PRV station. Typically, our zones run between 40 psi and 80 psi. So if you're at the high end of the zone, you're going to be at the lower pressure, and if you're at the low end, you're going to be at the higher pressure. So wherever we start getting into those higher pressures and then we start going farther downhill, you can imagine the pressure is going to go up. So we have to install these stations. Anytime you get above 80 psi, you begin to create issues for our customers. And actually, per the building code, we actually have to install private PRVs on individual services in anywhere the pressure is higher than 80 psi. So we try to install these system-wide PRVs to take on that cost and not put that onto our customers. This is a exciting picture for you guys. It's a detail of a PRV station. That's in the Quad City Standard Details. So if you want to geek out on that, you can. That's public information. Many of you have actually probably seen a PRV station, but didn't know that it was a PRV station. You'll probably have seen these concrete vaults throughout town. And beneath those vaults are the PRVs and all the appurtenant valves and fittings. And that was a recent construction of the Manly PRV station. Here's a picture of just an example of our zone boundaries. That is the Stone Ridge development. And wherever you see those colored lines represent our water lines, and wherever you see a change of color, that's a change of zone boundary, and that's where our PRVs are located. For this project, a new PRV is being proposed at the near the Bighorn Drive and Carla Vista Drive intersection, and that's right on the western edge of Unit 20. Unit 20 serves approximately 1,500 homes, so it's a beautiful area of town, and well, we have lots of beautiful areas of town, and Unit 20 being one of those. And we want to make sure that we can provide a reliable service to that area. We currently have 2 PRVs serving that area, and the third PRV will improve water delivery and reliability, and especially in the case where we had a failure or some incident with one of the 2 PRVs, this allows us to have a dual feed to Unit 20 at all times. And this is actually not a hypothetical situation. We had to do some work on the Lakeshore PRV this past year, and when we took that PRV out of service, it created issues within Unit 20. And we had to get creative to provide reliable service to them when we took that PRV out. Here's a picture of the location. Here is Unit 20 overall. The green stars represent the 2 existing PRV stations that are feeding Unit 20, and the red represents the Bighorn PRV station. Our budget for the project is $70,000. Approximately $11,000 will be designated for design, bidding, and construction, observation, and administration services. That leaves $58,870 for construction, which is great because I believe that we'll be able to come in under budget for this project. We have selected Dave & Associates to do the work for us, to prepare the design and bid packet. And they are actually already contractually our town engineers, so we just had to do an amendment to our existing agreement with DAVA. They're highly qualified, as you all know, and they've done a lot of great work for us. So we recommend the approval of the contract.
Good. Any questions, anyone? Laura?
You answered most of my questions, but 3 of us live in Unit 20 here. And I don't know how many this has happened to others, but I can't figure out what time of day to take a shower that the pressure will stay the same. So I thank you.
Great. This will help.
It will help.
Good. Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I have a
Mike?
question. I was just kind of interested, fascinated in the process, and that is that obviously this particular project, it was prompted because you lost one of your function of one of the apparatus. I guess I'm trying to think of the word that you, yeah, PRV, whatever. All right. And I'm wondering, is this something that you're looking at all over the community, or is there a something in Unit 20 as an example that mandates that we use these? Because I'm wondering, you know, obviously the pressure is going to be different around the community. And
right. Well, every year we evaluate the CIP dollars that we have available, and we look at issues that we've had, and we try to allocate the dollars to improve service. And we just happened to flag this area in particular.
Right.
There could be other units or developments that we could add a PRV into the future, but at this time we don't have any more proposed.
Right. Okay, so I was wondering too, is what's a common symptom where you'd respond to something like that, like in this case? The water pressure is just higher in general or lower?
Well, the example that I gave with when we had to take one of our PRVs out of
Right.
service is part of the driving factor for this one. And as you know, there's a lot of elevation change in Unit 20, and there are homes that are affected by that. So
is that more pressure or less pressure as a result of losing that PRV?
Well, when we can increase flow through these PRV stations, we have multiple feeds into the system that'll decrease the variability of.
So it's very specific to particular areas, even within this area.
Yes.
20.
Yeah, and it's particularly affected by grade changes.
Right. Okay.
And the size of the pipes as
Right.
well. So some of our infrastructure is smaller, 6-inch diameter. Even we have some 4-inch diameter service lines, or not service lines, but main lines. And whenever you have a decreased pipe diameter, that also affects our ability to provide.
Councilman Whiting, if I could, this is an ongoing effort that the utility department has engaged in ever since we purchased the private water company that served Prescott Valley. And so you're looking at redundancy that Neil and his team have been putting in place that makes this a very reliable system. And this is just one element that further refines and gives redundancy. And we've had, knock on wood, very good success with eliminating water outages and fluctuations in water pressure. And this, we really appreciate the work the guys are doing to really get this refined well.
Yeah, I think the other thing I'm thinking of is we have new development, which will impact obviously on resources, and it'll have an impact as far as pressure as well. So,
Yeah.
just a curious thought.
No, I appreciate your questions. We can talk hydraulics whenever you like.
Mary, comment?
I just want to really congratulate all of the department and the town itself. Just looking at that particular one map on Unit 20, the detail and the work that's put in to have sufficient water for people and the proper way, and everything you've done is just amazing. It's amazing. So I don't understand it, but I'll tell you what, I absolutely appreciate all of it. So, and it's just unbelievable. Thank you.
Any other comments? Anyone? Mike?
Be happy to make a motion if we're ready to
I
vote.
think we're ready.
All right.
Randy, good job, by the way.
Motion to approve the amendment to the town engineer agreement with Dava and Associates to provide professional design and construction administration services in the amount of $11,130 for the Bighorn PRV Station Project CIP number W405.
I'll second.
We got the motion and a second. Would you set the vote, Diane?
It's unanimous, Mayor.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, we move on to H. Consideration of approving the professional services agreement with Granite Basin Engineering Incorporated to provide professional design and construction administration services in the amount of $70,000 for the SR State Route 69 Waterline Relocation Project CIP W406. Are you doing that one too, Randy?
I am. You're not rid of me yet.
Go ahead, hang in there.
All right, so this one's a little bit bigger than the Bighorn PRV. This is located, as you might guess, south of State Route 69, hence the name of the project. It parallels the highway, and it is approximately between Carpet One and Napa Auto Parts, just to get your bearings. This transmission main is our main linkage for service in this area from the Granite View tank, which serves that area. And so that line serves all the commercial and residential properties south of the highway and east of Lake Valley Road. As I said, this is one of our main linkage mains, and currently we really have no access to this main, and our service operators can't get down to it to do a repair if we had a line break. And so the proposed location will improve our serviceability. If you look at the screen, you can see that it's approximately 1,500 linear feet of pipe that would be relocated. And if you look over here to the right side of the screen, that's Carpet One, and over here is Napa Auto Parts. And the thing that's interesting about this project is you've got a kind of a small channel here, actually a large channel, a small canyon really, and running east-west. And then you've got another north-south canyon coming under the highway and outletting down here. And we have multiple issues going on here. First of all, as I said, there's no access road down to this area. And down here at this drainage crossing, we are actually experiencing approximately 4 feet of scour from historical drainage, and the pipe is exposed in this area. So you have one case where we have no cover over our pipe, and then over here, to the west, when we start running along the side of this little canyon, you have on average about 25 feet of cover over the pipe. And in some cases, it's up to 100 feet of cover over the pipe. And if you're familiar with trenching operations, that creates a really big problem. Here's a picture of the scour location. As you can see, that's the rusty pipe right there. And what's not shown in this picture is another 2 sticks of pipe that are also exposed. And you can see in the background the ADOT drainage structure that's outletting through here. So we kind of have the worst of 2 worlds, if you will. No cover and far too much cover. Some of you might be asking, well, how did we get ourselves into this situation? Why did we put the line there? You have to understand that the Shamrock Water Company was purchased by the town in 1999, and there were a number of issues that had to be addressed when we took that on, and this is basically one of the inherited issues that we got when we purchased this system. So some of this is an inherited liability that we're trying to remedy, and also the conditions were different when the pipe first went in. Obviously, it was buried at full depth when it first went in, and then the historic drainage and the scour has caused part of the pipe to be exposed, as well as the area to the west. Fill material has been added over the years, causing the extra overburden over the pipe. So we're actually not the only utility that's impacted in this area. There's actually gas infrastructure in the same corridor that's also experiencing the same issue. So we're trying to correct this problem. If there was a line break, it would be a catastrophic failure for our system, and we couldn't quickly get down there to remedy the situation. So whenever we see these kind of problems, we try to stay ahead of them so we don't have a major issue in the future. The material that we're proposing to do for the new 1,500 linear feet that will be closer to the highway in an area that we can service will be fusible PVC. This is a great material. We just installed 3,000 linear feet of this material as part of the Victorian Estates water line. These fused joints provide zero leakage. The outer diameter of this pipe is equivalent to C900 PVC, which basically just means that we can use standard fittings that are readily available, and so that is also an added benefit. And because of the fusing process, you have a shortened construction timeline. Just some quick pictures from the Victorian Estates water line. That's a 12-inch fused PVC line that went in south of the 69, just like the new project will. That's the fusing machine you see. And that's a finished fused joint. So our budget for this project is $200,000. For design, bid, and construction admin services, it'll be $70,000 which will leave $130,000 for construction. There is some concern that we have that the bids may come in higher than this $130,000, so we may have to reallocate funds from other projects where we had savings. And there is also some potential for cost saving by partnering with other utilities impacted. And so we've instructed our consultant as part of their contract to reach out to the other utilities and see if there can be a combined effort to share costs for these improvements. So we are recommending that we move forward with the design services with Granite Basin Engineering, who also prepared the design plans and bid plans for the Victorian States Water Line. They did a great job. They were easily accessible, always answered our calls. They were always on site and watching the contractor, making sure that we had a quality installation. They were fantastic, and we'd really like to use them again on this project. So,
Laura?
2 questions. Is this the most egregious location we have for these type of problems? Do we have other similar locations?
as far as
We're
I'm
going
aware,
to have
this
to
is
fix.
yes. As far as I'm aware, this is the worst one
Worst,
for this
okay.
kind of condition where we have that kind of a buried depth.
Okay. You mentioned you were concerned the bid might come in higher.
Yeah.
Are we beginning to feel the effects of the natural disasters that are raising the cost of all different kind of materials?
You make a good point. That could affect this cost. We have seen some increases in costs from an operations standpoint because of those disasters. Whether that will directly impact this project, I couldn't say. But it could.
Yeah, well, my point was I'm glad we're doing it now because it will just be more. That's why I'm asking. Thank you.
Marty?
Yeah, I have a question. You mentioned that there are some parts of the pipeline that currently are exposed, and there are others that are potentially under over 100 feet of dirt.
Right.
And when the pipe was originally put in, it was consistently at the same depth along. When you're done with this project, will there once again be a consistent depth throughout where the pipe is?
Absolutely. Yeah, there'll be a buried depth with 5 feet of cover over the pipe, and there might be some fluctuation based on what kind of obstructions are in a way. We might have to dip under existing utilities, but in general, it would be a consistent 5 feet of cover over the pipe, which is very serviceable and easily.
Will any barricades be put in place so that the dirt isn't moved through the other? Because obviously dirt has been moved over time.
Correct.
Are there going to be any berms or barricades put up to prevent that or to minimize it?
That's a good question. Actually, the proposed location will be within ADOT right-of-way for the majority of the relocation, and so there won't be any material allowed to be basically placed over the top of that because we'll be within the ADOT right-of-way at that point.
Any other questions? Jody?
Thank you, Mayor. Randy, I want to piggyback on Councilmember Nye's question about the cost overruns. You alluded to maybe there would be, the prices have gone up. What other information do you have that gives you concern?
Well, looking at the bids from previous recent projects, the cost per linear foot would put this project over budget from our most recent project. So that's another concern why we think the bids are going to come in a little bit higher than the $130,000 that we have available.
Now you're in trouble. Rick, you had a question? No. Anyone else? Mike?
I was just going to add something if I could. A lot of times when we budget for a project, we've got a concept in mind, and as we get into looking at it with the engineers, even though we don't have the engineers on board yet, they're giving us a proposal, and they go out and look at things, and they come up with some ideas. And oftentimes during that process, we figure out, hey, it needs to be a little bit longer than we thought it was going to be. Typically when we run into this situation, we do one of two things. As Randy said, we take money from other projects, from savings that we have. That's one possibility. The other thing that we do, and we've done, and we did on the Victorian Estates Waterline project, is that we'll design it now, we'll get a full understanding of what the costs are going to be, and then we will schedule the project for the end of the fiscal year, which is a better time to construct anyway. So we would award the project in April, and if we need more money, we would use funds from next fiscal year, so we would straddle the fiscal year. So we would come back to you if we found out that this design, the way it really needs to be done, is going to be way more than what we had. We would come back to you guys with the new fiscal year budget and say, we'd like to do this project, we'd like to add more money next fiscal year, and we'll just straddle the fiscal year and use money from both fiscal years to cover it. So we've done it both ways. We also have the ability to postpone other projects if this one we feel is a higher priority, which we do. So we have the ability to postpone other projects as well. And as an example, we could postpone the Bighorn PRV station if we needed to. We've run Unit 20 like that as long as we've owned it for the last almost 20 years. But ideally, we will put this out to bid. Bids will come in under our budget, and we'll be good to go. So.
Good. Mary?
I do appreciate you, as you present this tonight, giving us a heads up that the possibility going forward we may come back with a little bit higher on the bid. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Good. Any other questions? Jody?
Thank you, Mayor. So if I heard correctly, Randy, one of the previous projects came in with overruns as well.
Well, I was just saying that the price per linear foot, if you applied the same rate that we got on that bid to this project, it would be higher than the $130,000 that's available.
Okay.
Mike?
Yeah, just comparing Victorian Estates, we're talking about pretty much the same length on that one versus the new one you're talking about.
This is about half as long.
Half as long?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Are we ready for a motion?
I think we are. Oh, I'm sorry. You got some more comments there? Oh, I'm sorry. Doug, you have a question?
As you know, my post, American Legion Post 108, and the
Pull that thing a little closer to you.
American Legion Post 108 and the VFW put up flags along the side of the highway. And will this impact where we put the flags in? We have buried holes that we put the flags in on, special occasions. We had a problem with when Tractor Supply went in, they tore up about 5 or 6 of them that we had to get put back in. We're a bunch of old guys, and then we had to dig the holes and put the cement in. Will consideration be done for those? Because you're going right along the side of the highway.
Thank you for your question. Anything that is removed has to be replaced in kind. So any posts that are taken out have to be put back in for the contracts.
Good, thank you.
You ready, Mayor? Motion to approve the professional service agreement with Granite Basin Engineering, Inc. to provide professional design and construction administration services in the amount of $70,000 for the SR 69 Waterline Location Project, CIP, work number 406 by electronic vote.
Second, anyone?
Mayor, I'll second that.
Okay, with a motion and a second, would you set the vote, Diane? Randy, good job. Appreciate that.
That's unanimous, Mayor.
Thank you. Randy, you can go to work on it. Okay, we move on then to I, consideration of approving the purchase of a Superior mobile work order system for $22,810. And Neil, are you going to do that one? You and Mark?
All right, thank you for your patience. All right, so last week at work study, we did talk about this already. What we're looking to do is purchase an automated mobile work order system, which is been put together by Superion, which is actually the same company that makes the system that we have, our database and all of our billing stuff is HTE, and HTE and Superion, they're the same company, so it was HTE, Superion, Naviline, so basically it's all compatible with what we've got right now. And so what we're doing is looking to reduce the actual paper usage back and forth between us and our contractor CH2M. We're doing multiple paper copies, we're faxing things, we're filing things, they're keeping files. So we're looking to reduce a whole bunch of paper and make it a whole lot more simple. I believe I showed you this last week. We're using a stack of paper 23 feet high every year. That's 17,000 work orders and multiple copies of all that. So we're going to eliminate all that. As I've mentioned, it's the Superion is the same company as HTE. It's gone through multiple name changes. And we've talked with other users of this system, and they had no issues to report. They said everything worked great. And I'm just going to run through this real quickly because I know that you've seen it already, but this is what a current work order paper copy looks like, where there are multiple entries, some of them made by our personnel as they get a call from a customer. They'll type information in, they'll print the work order out, they'll send it out in the field. The guys out in the field will write in notes on the work order, fax it back or scan it back, and then the information gets entered into the computer. And so, like I'm saying, I think I'm overdoing it, but there's a lot of paper handling here. This is what the workflow looks like right now, going from start all the way out into the field and then coming back in. And we're going to simplify it to this. And we're going to do that using the handheld, the little tablets that you can use. You've probably seen other utility workers with those types of things. We will type the work order into the system. It will automatically get downloaded into the handheld devices, the tablets that the guys have. They will see what it is. They will go out and do the work. They will close the work order on their tablet, and it'll automatically go back into our system. So I'll show you a couple examples real quick. This is what the guys out in the field will see. They'll see all the, right here, there's 5 or 6 work orders. They can click on the work order. It can tell them, for example, this one, it says there's a check for leak, and it even gives them a map so that they know where it is to confirm. They can go out, they can write in their comments for the work that they did or what they found. They can attach pictures directly to it, so it's all electronic. And they're done. So, number one, we believe this is going to save a lot of paper. Number two, we're probably going to save on the order of 3 or 4, the time involved, 3 or 4 FTEs for all the paper handling that's involved in this. And we will be able to direct their work towards other areas of customer service to improve customer service for whatever it is, taking additional phone calls or anything like that. So I think the benefits are pretty clear, and I've already said them 3 or 4 times, so I'm not going to say them again. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Questions, Rick?
Well, I don't have a question, but for the benefit of the people that may be watching this, would you please explain what an FTE is? What are we saving?
It's a full-time employee.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments, suggestions, motions?
Mayor, I'd be glad to make a motion.
Okay, I think we're ready.
A motion to approve the side letter agreement with the City of Prescott for the regional... Wrong one?
Whoops, I think the wrong one.
That's where I'm at. Oh, I'm sorry. Motion to approve the purchase of the Superion Mobile Work Order System for $22,810.
Mr. Mayor, I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would you set the vote?
That's unanimous, Mayor.
Neil, go to it.
Thank you.
Okay, we move on to I or J. Consideration of approving the side letter agreement with the City of Prescott for the Regionalized Communications Center with an anticipated total cost to the town of Prescott Valley for $641,618.55 with a 3-year payment of $213,872.85. Chief, you're up.
Good evening, Mayor. I'm sure you'll be disappointed I don't have a PowerPoint, so sorry.
Well, yeah.
As everybody knows, we are a partner with Prescott Regional Communications Center, and about a year or so ago, they decided they needed to go to a new CAD, which is a computer-aided dispatch, and RMS, or records management system. And since we're a partner, we were forced to tag along with that. Our share of that total cost of the project is $641,618.55. They do allow us to amortize that over 3 years, $213,872.85. So the side letter is just explaining all of that. That's pretty much what it is. Instead of just doing capital improvements all the time, it's just going to be a side letter. And Larry could probably explain it better than I can.
Want to explain it, Larry? I think we understand it, but go ahead.
No, I believe the chief, besides needing a razor, did a good job of explaining that because of the agreement that we've got, the intergovernmental agreement that caused regional dispatch to happen back in 2004, that here we are. And, you know, we've had the discussion about the cost of technology and not getting behind the curve. This is one of those examples of getting the latest, greatest, but we have actually had the same software in place since 2004. As you well know, that's pretty dated for technology.
I think he's not the only one that needs a razor, but any other comments?
Nope. Took the words out of my mouth, Mayor.
Okay.
It's painful. This is painful.
Laura, comment? How about you, Mike?
Yeah, I always have a comment. Anyway, I was wondering, you know, we have issues sometimes with receiving and hearing, and is this going to resolve? No, it's not. All right.
No, this has nothing to do with our side of equipment requirements. So as our footprint of the city expands, we will continue to have problems such as dead spots. We continue to have problems, although I think they've been mitigated somewhat, up by the terraces, down by the country club, and there's other dead spots in the area. That has nothing to do with the equipment over at PRCC or Prescott Regional Communications Center. It has nothing to do with that. That's our side of it and our equipment. Totally separate issue.
Other questions, Laura?
No, that's why it's painful.
Okay.
I agree.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Motion to approve the side letter agreement with the City of Prescott for the Regionalized Communications Center for an anticipated total cost to the town of Prescott Valley of $641,618.55 with payment of $213,872.85 per year for 3 years by electronic vote.
I'll second.
Okay, with a motion and a second. Any other comment, or ready to set the vote, Diane?
That's unanimous, Mayor.
Chief, we approve.
Thank you.
Okay, we move on to K. Consideration of accepting a BVP grant award in the amount of $6,796.20 toward the purchase of protective ballistic armor vests. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. Am I on television? So back many years ago, 1998, the U.S. Department of Justice began an initiative to ensure that all police officers have bullet-resistant vests. They pay half of a standard threat, a distinctive threat level vest. The town is generous enough to pitch in the other half. If an officer has other costs incurred, say he wants panels put in it or a higher ballistic capability, then he's responsible for that difference. This is the government's grant to us, and so There's really no match. They pay half, we pay half, and we move along. And our officers are protected.
Good. I think a good thing. Any other Mary, comment?
Mayor, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Motion to accept a BVP grant award in the amount of $6,796.20 toward the purchase of protective ballistic armor vests.
Mr. Mayor, I'll be happy to second.
There's a motion and a second. Would you set the vote?
That's unanimous, Mayor.
Keep bringing in the money. We appreciate
Thank you, Mayor,
that.
Council.
Okay, we'll move on to L, which is consideration of awarding the construction contract to Bees Contractors LLC, Incorporated, in an amount of up to $1,399,300 for the Boys and Girls Club
Nice.
Expansion Project.
Very nice.
Ryan, you are up.
Mayor, Council, pleasure to be with you once again. Dan always saves the best for last. So, in this case, there's some good news and some bad news. Now, we've been living with this project for about a year now, at least I have been, as far as getting the grant and getting an architect on board, going through the design process. We were lucky to receive 7 bids for the project. Unfortunately, it's over budget. And I'm going to round some numbers here, but the town is putting forth $650,000 in grant funds that we received towards the project. We've spent about 50 of that towards design. The Boys and Girls Club is going to match that with about $600,000 to give us a $1.2 million building. The low bid came in at $1.4 million, so we are over budget. We are coming to you now to consider an award to lock in that price and give the Boys and Girls Club some additional time to raise those funds. Worst case scenario, they aren't able to raise those funds, and we have to go back to the drawing board to design a smaller building that fits within that budget. This is actually a project, believe it or not, that we considered 10 years ago. At one point, the town had $1 million in impact fee funds that was going to be matched by an additional $1 million on the Boys and Girls Club. That never went anywhere. So we saw this grant as another opportunity to expand that facility. It's sorely needed. They've got a waiting list almost as soon as they open the doors every school year. So with that, we're looking to award the project, but withhold a notice to proceed before the contractor could actually start to work. I would call your attention to just one clause in the contract documents that we would be signing with Bees Contractor that says the contract is not valid until contract documents are executed, bonds are posted, and the notice to proceed has actually been delivered to the contractor. So that's our safeguard to protect the town's funds there and tell the contractor to hold on. We talked to Bees Contracting. They're willing to hold their prices for 6 months. While, again, the Boys and Girls Club tries to raise those funds, it won't be that long before we make a decision to either fish or cut bait. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have at this point.
Questions, anyone? Mike? No?
He does. Thank you for reading the contract, because, of course, that was going to be the question we all had, even though we saw it ourselves. I just want to express an opinion. I'm frustrated and I'm disappointed. And I think we need to go forward with good faith, because you said it, 10 years. I just really want us to be faithful to the needs of those youngsters and hang on to this contract.
Yeah, there was one thing I didn't mention. One of the contractors that bid on the project said that the Davis-Bacon rules, which requires us to pay higher than average salaries, probably added about 25% of the cost to their bid. So that's one thing that's elevating the price of this project compared to others that we might do.
And based on my concerns, the other project with all the natural disasters, the bids are only going to go higher. They're all going to go higher because of construction materials and salaries and everything else.
Other comments, questions, motions, commotions, demotions? Mike?
Mr. Mayor, I just had a question. I guess we're going to look at May as kind of the 6-month period.
It'll probably be sooner than that, but at the latest. We're also going to have to talk to our granting agency, and we've already done that. They're going to allow us to extend our grant timeline, but I spoke to Gerald at the Boys and Girls Club. They're hoping to know by the end of this calendar year whether or not they think they can do it. So 6 months is the most that we'll look at. It'll probably be sooner than that.
Well, I'm in the same boat as Laura Lee. I think I support the project, and we've been talking about this for years. And, I think we need to move ahead, and hopefully the Boys and Girls Club can get their part of the project completed so we can get that done. But I think it's realistic as well if we need to downsize the project a bit, and then we can always look in the future to build on to that. So.
Good. Other comments, anyone? Questions? Mary?
No, I support doing this and going forward. It's for the kids. I mean, families.
Anything else, Ryan?
It's all on my part.
Well, do we approve it? We need a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mayor.
Okay.
Motion to approve the award of a construction contract to the lowest responsible bidder, B Contractors LLC, Inc., in an amount of $1,399,300, conditioned on necessary additional funds being raised by the Boys and Girls Club during the period that the low bidder holds firm the prices by electronic vote.
And I'll second that, Mayor.
I have the motion and a second. Would you set the vote, Diane?
That's unanimous, Mayor.
Ryan, good job. Appreciate that. Okay, we'll go on to number 10, comments from the public. Mary is going to read that one.
Oh, okay. Let me put my glasses back on then. Okay, comments from the public. Consideration and discussion of general unscheduled comments from the public. Those wishing to address the council need not request permission in advance. Any such remarks shall be addressed to the council as a whole and not to any member thereof. Such remarks shall be limited to 5 minutes, and unless additional time is granted by the mayor. At the conclusion of the unscheduled comments, individual members of the council may respond to the item addressed at the discretion of the mayor, or they may ask the town manager to review the matter or ask that the matter be placed on a future agenda.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone from the public here to make comments? Yes, sir. Welcome.
My name is Glenn Brower. I'm a new resident of this valley.
Welcome.
I came from Oregon, so I hopefully don't have too much of that white stuff here. I'm really impressed what I've read, what I've seen, what I've heard. I did volunteer. I talked to Heidi on volunteering in different areas, which I did get landed a job in the volunteer at the Valley of Lights with Gloria. So I'll be working with her coming a week or so. The comments that I have and what I've read is the one that really stood out was this proposed turnabout on Robert Road and 89A, which I commend you tremendously for disapproving it. But my question is, does ADOT have authority to do that?
Okay. Larry, you want to comment?
I'm not sure I'm understanding. Authority to do what?
There's on Roberts Road and Route 89A,
right.
There was a proposed turnabout called a circle,
yes.
roundabout circle. It was highly disapproved by you members here, which I said I commend you tremendously. Now, has ADOT got jurisdiction over that, over the city of Prescott Valley?
They do. That is their highway. That is their highway, their right of way. But
okay.
I think it's important to note there is a study that is going on, and the mayor and town council commented on an early draft version of the study. The study is not finalized yet, okay, and there will be, I'm not recalling the exact date, but there's going to be a public meeting that will be looking at the potential recommendations, and it's a smorgasbord of recommendations along the entire corridor. It's not just that intersection. It's Highway 89 going over to Highway 89A going over to Highway 89. So there's still a lot more to the public process. But at the end of the day, it's important to note that is a state highway.
Yes. Okay, that concluded as a state highway. Does that mean the city of Prescott Valley don't have to contribute any funds to that? Is that correct?
That is a state highway. There have been precedents set where there have been partnerships created between jurisdictions and ADOT, the State Highway Department, and those precedents have been set and put in place all across the state of Arizona.
Okay. Once again, like I said, I enjoy coming to these meetings. I've been involved in civic groups all over the country. And now that I'm not watching NFL anymore, I have more time on my hands. So what I would like, there's a couple other questions, even pertaining to the police department building addition. I wasn't here, I didn't get the answer. How many bidders was that for bidding on that project? Do you know, Larry?
How many bidders?
How many bids did you receive?
I believe there were 7 or 8.
Oh, there was 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Okay. Being that I was in the construction business for 50 years, I always like to know how much money I left on the table.
Okay, there very little actually. There was good competition, which is indicative of something, and that is that the plans were well drawn so that there were not inconsistencies. I believe order of magnitude, it was $120,000 left on the table, and out of a project of that magnitude, that's a small percent.
Okay, then my final question is always the money. As I look at what you approved this evening, I know the police department over $2 million. Is that been bonded? Is that funded through a bond? How is that going to be funded?
It's partially that part of it. The actual construction of the annex, the little over $2 million, $2.4 million, is in fact proceeds from a private placement, not a bond. And because right now the market is such that private placements are more economical than going out into the bond market. And we've done that with about the last 3 offerings and have been very successful with that. Okay, so the next question might be, how are you going to pay off those bonds? And that is with development impact fees. Okay, so you've just moved here. I don't know if you moved into a new house, but as they are completing and selling a house today in Granville, when they pulled the permit for that, there is a police department development impact fee. That revenue stream is going to be paying off this bonded indebtedness, as it should, because mayor and council have said repeatedly, new growth needs to pay for the impacts on the community.
Thank you. That was very interesting. And I'm glad to see, I met a few of the people already. I didn't get to meet the mayor. He was out every time I went up there. But I don't know, you're on business, I'm sure. But I will be here more often. I'll be in the volunteer stages. I'm retired. I'm going to enjoy life in the Prescott Valley. Thank you very much.
Welcome and thank you. Any other comments, anyone? If not, we going to adjourn this, and then we'll wait a couple of minutes till Diane sets up. We have a short facilities district meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I'll second.
And we have a second to adjourn. You want to set the vote, Diane?
That's unanimous, Mayor.
That was surprising, unanimous.